All right, I wanted to talk about Persona 3 Reload. I bought this game last year, about this time, right around when it came out. Couldn't really get into it, but I decided, bought it this year. I'm gonna play this game. I think if you've watched my channel, you this kind of happens all the time. I'll buy a game, I'm like, I'm not gonna really play it right now. It's kind of like buying a book. There's a bookshelf behind me. Buy the book, read it whenever. And I wanted to do a review about this game because this game I've actually now played 3 times. I've played it when the FES version, I think it was FES or FER, came out, and it was on PlayStation 3. And I have a PSP, I played it on there. And then I played it again on this. So I'm not gonna talk about the different versions. I just wanted to talk about this version. And the reason I bought this was because of the quality of life. You know, the first, if you've ever played the first game, that final boss took me like an hour and a half to beat. I think I had 110, 111 hours into the game. It was insane. And I wanted to see a refleshed out version of this game, updated graphics, updated music, updated dialogue possibly. I think there's some of the dialogues updated. I wanted to see a version of this game that had almost every single scene voiced. That is so rare with games, even to this day. And this game does that. This game voices almost every single scene. It's wonderful. There's a couple little offbeat things here that don't have any voice acting, but for the most part, and I played it with the Japanese voice, I like it so much better. I don't know who these people are in America that do voiceovers. I don't think they're very good. They're very cheesy. It's like watching Power Rangers, which I never liked. So here we are. So the review. So the game, I've played all 5. This might actually be the darkest story. The second one has a lot of dark, I don't know. The first 3, I'm gonna say, are very dark. So if you've played Persona 5 and you wanna go backwards, this is definitely a different animal, basically. This game though, follows the same thing. You're a high school student, you awaken to your abilities, you have these things called persona, and you have to save the world. Now, every Japanese role-playing game, you have to save the world from my remember. I'm sure there's some that you don't, but for the most part, even Zelda, you're saving the world, right? And that's like a baseline role-playing game. So it's no different there. You've got to save the world. Everybody needs saving, and you've got to make a decision for the entire planet. That is basically the synopsis of the game. I don't want to go into it too much, especially seeing how I'm going to be reviewing episode Aegis, and that really breaks into it even more, despite some of its faults. The game, the quality of life. The game is significantly easier. Significantly easier. It's welcomed on my end. If you're somebody who just wants a game that is so ridiculously hard, it's not even funny, go play the original. You want a game that is going to kick your ass. Just kick your ass. Go play the original. You might not even need the remake, I don't know. Or go play the original and see just what it used to be. And they have dumbed it down quite a bit. They've made the fighting sequences a little bit faster. They have added much, like I really like the music. I'm trying to think, but I probably should have taken notes, but I just got done playing it. And like, the one thing I like is where like you have the random encounters in, say, a Final Fantasy. There's these things called shadows, and that's what you're gonna fight in this game. You can see them. You can see where there are. You can actually run past them. You don't have to fight every time. One of the techniques that I like to use in the game is there's different shadows, there's different variation of shadows. There's one shadow with like this flame coming out of it, and that's like a much higher level, harder to beat shadow. And what I usually would do was I would fight a lot of the base ones just to kind of see, One of the things is you're going to see is like their weaknesses, and the more of the weaknesses you can use, the faster you can dispatch these enemies, and you get these things like these chains, and you can keep just going after the enemy. Anybody who's played a Persona has seen this. So if you hit a weakness, then you can get another turn and you hit a weakness. And if you have all of them on the ground, then you can do an all-out attack with all 4 characters, and you can get through matches really quick. That is nothing different. That was in the first Persona 3. This one really does seem to move a lot faster. It gets you through. It's kind of like the new healthcare system. We only want to see you for 5 minutes. We don't really care what's going on with you. Just get out of here, give us your money, and leave. That's kind of how this new system is. I like that. When I was playing this game, I was also playing Persona 4, kind of just to, I had gotten myself in Persona 4 to the last battle, or last couple battles, and I'm like, I'm gonna get that done while I'm in this Persona mood. And I did that, and the quality of life of Persona 3 is so much better. It makes it so much better than Persona 4 Golden. I have really struggled to even play the game. So it is really a lot better. Between the 3D animated characters are so much more alive. The dialogue, like I said, is there. The music is there. The menus are so much more intuitive. Everything is just better. It's basically like they took Persona 5, which is like the best of the best, really. I mean, really is. If you look at Persona 1 through 5 is just so much better. With all the menus and everything working in you know, cohesive way. You know, it's like Persona 3's just entire storyline and everything, music and everything, is basically Persona 5's just vibe with it. I mean, the aliveness, the brightness and everything is just there. It's just really there. So if you came off, like I said, Persona 5, and you're looking to see what games came prior to it, this reload is definitely for you. I know I'm late to the game. I know I bought it when it came out and I didn't do a review then. That seems to just be how my channel goes, just because I don't know. I play games in weird orders. If you're looking for all of that, it's there. You can create character relationships, and that character relationship is gonna relate into your persona. You can create different personas to go after these shadows, and these different personas are going to be stronger based on what character development you did with different people in the game. So you're a high school student, and you have all these different interactions with people in your class, people outside your school, just random strangers, somebody who owns a bookstore, a track guy, you know, a little girl not in like a weird way, just you kind of interact with a little girl in a playground. I know that sounds, there's nothing fishy about that. There's also somebody else at the playground that is dying, and you know, you have interactions with him, and all these and they all kind of intertwine together. And then during the game too, you'll have like this little smiley face over the characters, and it's not the same. It's not building the persona per se, but it does build your relation even more with these people, and then they can grow from that. I mean, there's just so many opportunities to get your characters to develop and grow and just become stronger outside of the dungeon crawling. Now, the dungeon crawling is pretty significant. Now, if you're somebody who doesn't like dungeon crawling, this might be a hard sell. This might be a hard sell. There's quite a few levels that you're gonna have to climb in this thing called Tartarus, which I haven't really talked about because I myself am not like the biggest dungeon crawler. The Trails of series, some of those games actually have very limited dungeon crawling, and I really like that. Some of them are ridiculous with it. We all know which games those are. And some of the games aren't. Like, I remember the last Trails of Steel or whatever. the first couple of games, like those dungeons were only like a couple levels and you were out of it. I'm like, oh, why can't all Japanese games do this? So if this is you, this game, it doesn't ruin the game, but it's just like, damn, that's a lot of levels, you know? And so what I would do, because I'm not the biggest dungeon crawler fan in the world, what I would do was because you have to wait, so it goes based on moon phases. I know I'm getting ahead of myself because I really do like this game. It goes based on moon phases. So every new moon, you have to fight like this gargantuan shadow. And then once you beat that, then a new set of levels opens up in this thing called Tartarus. And what I would do was the next time that thing would open up, I would go and I would beat every single level on the first night that it was open. And then if I wanted to go back in there and just maybe level up some of my other characters, then I would do that. Sorry, I'm in the middle of baking and the oven went off. So, the dungeons. I would just go in and I would be like, a lot of the times there was like 20, 25, I feel like, different levels in each section, and I would just knock it out all in one thing. I would use a lot of my items. The other thing that I would suggest in this is don't hoard items, because it's a quality of life in this game. You find a lot of items, almost too much. There's these little treasure chests and I stopped opening. I'm like, I'm not even using all this stuff. It was crazy. Maybe that's because I was on the easy level. I wanted an easy life. I've already played this game 2 times. I just wanted to finally kind of just run through it, see the storyline again, see what they did with it, and I did, and I'm glad that I did. I just ran through it. I still had 90 hours into it. It still wasn't easy. I did overpower my personas at the end. I did, there's this thing called the Reaper. If you stay on the level too long, the Reaper will come after you. If you're too under-leveled, like I would say anything under, like 65 and under, maybe even 70 and under, you're not gonna beat it unless you use every item you've got, struggle through it, you're not gonna beat it. If you do beat it though, you're gonna probably be like a level 9. I remember the first time I beat this Reaper, and this is another suggestion I have, if you don't wanna grind a ton, you can run past those shadows and you can just get yourself to a base of like a 70 and you beat the Reaper. I went from a level 73 to a level 91 by beating the Reaper. It was worth it for me. As a matter of fact, I had Mitsuru and Akihiko with me, and they actually went to from a 69 to like a 96 and a 97. So that can really be something that can make up. If you're one of these people, you don't really like dungeon crawling, you don't really want to figure out all the weaknesses to all the different things, because at the end of the game, the things that you're fighting at the end of the game are not going to have any weaknesses, so it really isn't terribly relevant. If you don't want to do that, if you want to just get through this as fast as you can because you really like the story, get yourself to like a level 70 and fight the Reaper 3 times like I did. I had everybody between a 96 and a 99. I was so overpowered by the time I finally hit the final boss. It was a joke. Whereas it took me like an hour and a half the first time I played this game to beat that thing. I had Satan, I had Messiah, I had, I think it's called Thantos. I had like all of the top personas. I mean, it just couldn't even touch me. It was a joke. I probably could have played it on hard and it still would have been a joke. So that's another avenue that you can take. That's the avenue that I took. I fought as little things as I can. I'm not trying to feel like, I'm not trying to see every variation of every shadow in the game. It really doesn't matter to me. I don't even remember any of them, so it really doesn't matter to me. I remember the story. I don't really remember the shadows because I really don't care that much. I'm here for, now again, I don't want a storybook, but I also don't want a pure dungeon crawler, because that drives me nuts. So it is a good happy medium, and they do allow you, like I just, like I used, to kind of get around that. Like if you're not a huge dungeon crawling fan, you don't have to always, you have to get through the levels. but you don't have to fight everything. So keep that in mind. I really don't know what else to say about it other than if you've played the games before, this is a phenomenal reload, redo, remake, whatever it is. It's phenomenal. It really is worth the time. I'm glad that I bought it and actually played it because what a waste it would have been had I not done that. It was just really good, really good. The story is just so well fleshed out, and to have all that voice acting, it really doesn't get much better than that. It really doesn't. Sorry. All right, done baking, and I'm done with the video. So that's it. There's really not a lot of cons. Not a lot of cons, because the one con that I would have was the dungeon crawling, but the dungeon crawling really isn't that bad because you don't have random encounters. Random encounters have ruined too many games for me, to the point where if I see it's random encounters, a lot of times I won't even play the game anymore because it's too much. Other than like Bravely Default, because their automatic system is so good that I don't mind the random encounters. There is no automatic system in this. I mean, you could press, I think it is start button and option, whatever button, and it'll do only physical. It's not intuitive. It's not a very good option as far as automatic battle goes. It doesn't have one really. If you can use it if you're, for whatever reason, wanted to going up against lower level, like super lower level. I don't know why you would do that though, because it doesn't benefit you at all. It's just a waste of time. That's it. That's it. I mean, other than I didn't mention, there's these little gloves that are gold, and those give you a lot of experience points, but you'll figure that out as you go. Yeah. Again, if you're a dungeon crawler, you love it. Fight every single one, find every single one, have at it. If you don't want to do that, there is definitely ways around that. Find little gold gloves and make sure you beat them. They can escape pretty easily. Fight the higher level ones. It might take a little bit longer, but it's like, even if it takes 3 times as long, like that's so many that you didn't have to face. Like the lower level ones. Yeah, and just have at it. Enjoy the story. Again, like hopefully Persona 6 is like, we've graduated. Like we're out of high school. Hopefully that happens. But until then, I mean, just enjoy that. Hopefully they're remaking one, and I think, does the first one have 2 games and the second? I forget what it is. But either the first or the second one have 2 games. Hopefully they remake those to some level so we can play them, and they are hard. I have played them. They are rough. So I haven't beaten them. I haven't even come close. That's it. That's it. This is my 3rd playthrough, and I'm glad I did it. Probably my last playthrough, which is why I did level myself up to like almost 99 with the main character. Most of these sub characters were a level 99. I think it was like a 96. That's it. Good game, really is. They did a good job with it. If you are looking for episode, I guess I'm gonna turn this off and I'm gonna make that, and that'll be out in a couple days. It was worth a shot. If you can get it on sale, I think it's on sale right now, do it. But I will see you in that video. Peace.